The live stream's starting right now, man, if you want to jump on there.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll see if I can do that. But I just wanted to point that out. 42-28, the last game he won. They beat the Bucs at home.
42-28, yeah. I will look into that. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, Zach.
That's it. Hey, guys, what's up? Thursday night football. I was feeling like it was just a straight shot here for the Panthers until I turned on the TV, and the first stat up was that they had said Cam Newton had lost 7 straight starts. And I thought, man, 7 straight, that means his next would be 8. The name Cam in the most Pierce cipher is 8. And 19 is the 8th prime number. And if you've been following us on baseball this year, we've tracked a lot of streaks in baseball through 8 games. So many streaks this year have ended at 8 games. It's because 19 is the 8th prime number, and we're in 2019. So that is one thing to think about. So keep the Cam Newton stat in mind. The Bucs could also lose their 8th straight road game tonight, though. And if you say that those two things are equal, let's go through all the variables here. Carolina is a 6.5 point favorite. If they do win tonight, I'd pay attention to pregame to see where the public money is. But I wonder if they might win by 6, just because today's date numerology and the purest methods all break down to 6. So the date numerology 6, the over-under is at 6.5. Could it be a 6-point ball game? In terms of the purest date numerology path, it's 24 today, which of course breaks down to 6. 2 plus 4 is 6. The 24 that really jumps out today is the Panthers can get their 24th win versus the Bucs in the regular season. 24th win, regular season. Better to look at regular season stats than all-time stats. But for these two teams, it is regular and all-time because they've never met in the playoffs. So Bucs can pick up that 24th loss to the Panthers. The Bucs are 7-12 at the Panthers today. They lose at a ratio of almost 2-1. And it is the 12th of the month. That's one thing to consider. Carolina equals 37, the 12th prime. They're playing the Carolina Panthers. They got to pick up that 13th loss eventually. Week 2 would be a good week to get it. If you write out 2 in Gematria, the most pure method, it sums to 13. Could get their 13th loss in week 2. And you look at Winston's stats. He's 21-34 for his career, 8-18 away. Prime numbers, they show up all the time in records if you pay attention. 8 is the 19th prime number, which is also the concern with Cam Newton losing 8 straight starts. We're going to go back and look at the last time he won before we finish this. So I just got wind of that information. I was not aware of that prior to seeing it reported on the television. So, anyhow, Winston could be 8-19 away, 19 to 8 prime. Prime numbers, they show up again and again. Tonight's game's in North Carolina. North Carolina is 67, the 19th prime. Winston is 1-2 at Carolina. He could become 1-3, a bit like 13. Caller?
Hey, Zach, I just wanted to give you a little decode I saw earlier, just a little small one. If you do Tampa Bay Bucs and English ordinal sums to 124, and the game is 124 days after Cam Newton's birthday. Just wanted to throw that out there for you.
Give it to me one more time.
Tampa Bay Bucs, not Buccaneers, but just Bucs, and English ordinal is 124, and the game is 124 days after Cam Newton's birthday.
Huh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's all I got for you, man.
All right, appreciate it, man.
Yep, no problem.
So the thing about that, when a distance in birthday syncs up with an opposing team, it's typically not a good sign for the team that shows up in the words, like Tampa Bay Bucs, but not always. I don't like to make reads off that, but it is something to observe, and if you do observe it, you'll observe the same thing that I've been observing. It goes back and forth. It's hard to rely on if that means he would lose to them or beat them. But like I said this past weekend with the Colorado and who was Colorado playing? Nebraska football game. Both quarterbacks, their birthday distances were the opposing team, and I said, ooh, this has the makings of a special game. When you see that lineup with both quarterbacks, you know it's going to be one of those games. And if you know what happened in Nebraska-Colorado this weekend, Nebraska was up 17-0 at halftime as the favorite in Colorado, and then Colorado had a big rally to win the game in the end. So, caller?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Zach?
What's up, man?
Hey, I want to tell you about this Terrell Roberts. You see that he just passed away?
Who just passed away?
Terrell Roberts. He was a Cincinnati Bengals player.
I got to look into that. I didn't know.
And, of course, there was another Terrell. He used to play for Cincinnati. He had 1 year as a Terrell Owens.
Huh.
And, he wore the number 81. And I think the big takeaway from this death, which he actually died yesterday, 9/11, it was 419 days to the election. 419 is the 81st prime number.
Huh.
And Cincinnati Bengals, if you spell it out, is 419 Jewish.
Huh.
And one more, I think that's pretty much covers like the Terrell code I was seeing. I'm sure there's more. It's funny, UT is actually playing Terrell Owens' alma mater tomorrow, the Chattanooga Mocs.
Right.
And the other thing I wanted to mention is I've been talking about this 174-471 Great Conjunction Code. 9/11 was actually 471 days after the 2000 Great Conjunction.
Huh.
And that 9/7 date was a big date. I was talking about the tennis U.S. Open is 471 days before the 2020 Great Conjunction. And then election day is actually, if you're looking at heliocentric astrology, election day is on the Great Conjunction in heliocentric astrology. So.
Okay. What'd you say the name of that player was one more time?
Oh, Terrell Roberts.
Terrell Roberts. I put his name in wrong.
Yeah, I believe it is, yeah. Yeah.
Terrell Roberts, yeah. Oh, he was shot, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and that's another thing. It hit CNN today.
He's 38 years old.
38, yeah. Did like death. And let's see, today in 2010 was Terrell Owens' first game with the Bengals.
Huh.
Today, back in 2010. I think they had a pretty poor season that year. It was like they were like 4-12 or something. It was pretty bad. But
well, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, good eyes.
Yeah, man. I'll be listening in.
All right. Take care, man.
All right. See.
So on September 11th, another dead football player. We get two NFL-related stories of death. One was a Browns player who used to play for the Bengals. He lost his girlfriend yesterday morning. And then this guy was on the Bengals, Terrell Roberts. I want to see if he played with any other teams. All with the Bengals. Ohio. They said a 47-year-old woman ran into the girlfriend. Okay, we'll look at that in a minute, but since game time's coming up, let's finish the information. So, again, just to rewind, because we kind of lost our momentum there. 24-date numerology. The Panthers can get their 24th win versus the Bucs in the regular season and all time. The Bucs could get their 13th loss at the Panthers. They're on 12 on the 12th. They pick up 13. When you write out 2, it equals 13. It's the first game of week 2. If the Bucs stayed on 12 losses, just remember it's the 12th. Winston, again, could pick up his 19th away loss. North Carolina is 67, the 19th prime, so it's a good place to get it. And he'd be 8 and 19. 19's the 8th prime. When you learn your prime numbers, you'll often see how they show up in records. It's crazy in college basketball. Once you learn your prime numbers, you're like, does every game go to prime numbers? Sometimes it feels that way. With Cam Newton, the standout stat is that he can get his 40th home win tonight. And TNF equals 40, and that's the number that shows up again and again on Thursday Night Football. Last week, Rodgers got his 40th away win in the regular season. And 40, again and again, you will see all throughout the Thursday Night Football season. Caller?
Hey, Zach, what's happening?
What's up, man?
Hey, I don't know if you remember, but like during beginning of the MLB season, that 8 and 19 prime relationship number never hit.
Well, not never, but it hit at a worse ratio than every other single one. This is true.
It was bad because I remember I would always bet on that to hit, and I lost a lot every time I bet on it.
Yeah, I remember identifying that pattern earlier that 19 and 8 wasn't coming through.
So, I mean, honestly, I think that relationship is kind of like one of the weaker points that we got on this.
Well, the name Cam.
Everything else looks good.
That's what I mean. Everything lines up for the Bucs, and until I saw that stat on the TV, I caught that stat after I put up the video about an hour ago, and I said, well, I got to let people know about this 19-8 thing. Either way, one team's picking up at 8 straight tonight. If the Bucs lose, they lose their 8th straight game on the road. So what I wanted to do right now was go back and look at the Panthers' last win with Cam Newton and how it syncs up with tonight, and then go back and look at the Bucs' last win.
And the pregame right now is 53% Bucs, 67% Panthers.
You mean the panel?
The pregame.
Oh, pregame, the website. Got you. Did you say 53-67? It couldn't be those percentages.
Well, on pregame it said 53% Bucs on the cash line, 67% Panthers.
How long ago did you look?
I just looked when the stream started.
Okay, it can change rapidly as game time approaches, so keep an eye on it. Yeah, the money's huge on the Panthers tonight.
Yeah, and so I mean, all week on NFL Live and all the shows, they've been talking about how Winston sucks. Winston, he's not a good quarterback. It's like, dude, they're setting this up for like a big upset, I think.
Well, again, Jameis Winston equals 54. So does he have a breakout year? That's one of the storylines I asked before the season begins. Could he have a special season being a 54 quarterback?
Yeah. This game's tough, man.
All the numbers say Panthers. The 40 is the one I always look for on Thursday Night Football, and it's with Cam Newton tonight. So the only way I could see the Bucs going down, the Panthers going down, is if it's about Jameis Winston and a statement and a kind of a passing of a torch. Cam Newton, who's been to a Super Bowl, maybe to Winston on a breakout year. So those kind of storylines are still being figured out at the beginning of the year. But I just know from experience, 40 is the number on Thursday Night Football. So in a way, I'll still be kind of surprised if the Panthers lose, even seeing the money's all this way. But it would have to be him losing 8 straight, and I imagine that would probably be a good sign that he would win next week. So
maybe one thing for us to look into too, I haven't done it yet, but to look into like streaks or like the records head-to-head, like recent games, like within the last couple years or something.
Well, it's always good to measure from the last game played and see if there's a relationship. Like maybe it's 43 weeks since the last team. It's a 43-date numerology, and one team's going for their 43rd win in the series. That would be a really great sign.
Right, yeah. And I saw that you had a stat up there. It said, I think Cam Newton was 9-4, right, versus the Bucs in his career. Let me see.
I got it up here. I'll just go back and look to it. Newton is 9-4 versus Panthers and 5-1 at home.
So he's 5-1 at home and 9-4. Well, if he lost, he'd be 59, right? It would be like
5-9. He'd also get his 59th all-time loss. So yeah, it's something to think about. But the all-time stats aren't nearly as good as the regular season stats. So that was well established in week 1.
Yeah.
So
all right, man. I'll let you get to it.
All right, appreciate it. Okay. Rivera tonight could get his 62nd all-time win, but I'm telling you, the all-time stats are. Hold on. Wait a minute. What was I thinking? Let me get the number up here for the 62. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's what it is. Tampa Bay Buccaneers is almost to 62 all-time losses. Or Rivera is. He could get his 62nd all-time loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, let's see. It's all right, man. It's just so everybody knows I got a special guest here. Huge fan of the work, and he wanted to hang out for the day because he was in Washington State for the first time. And he wanted to try the newly legalized products, and he got himself he said, "Oh man, marijuana soda? I never heard of that." He was drinking this thing down, and I looked at it. I was like, dude, that is really potent right there. You might want to stop. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, you might want to stop, man. So anyway, welcome to Washington. But he's followed this work for 5 years, and he's actually a Patreon subscriber. So if you ever come here, I'll keep you away from the soda. But anyway, man.
Oh, my God.
How's your experience in Washington State?
I didn't even realize I was in Washington.
Oh, man. All right. So anyway, Rivero, I mean, he could pick up his 60-second all-time stat, but again, stats like that, they will usually get you in trouble. Regular season is where it's at. And so anyway.
Oh my God, dude, I'm like, what Oh my God. I'm out of breath, dude. My cheeks hurt.
You need some water?
No, I'm just saying, my cheeks hurt laughing so much all day.
All right. So anyway, really good numbers for the Panthers as a team, and even Cam Newton. He has the magic number on Thursday night. Caller?
Hey, Zach, man, y'all made my day, man. I'm glad y'all laughed, man. I feel better now, man.
That's good, man, because he's having the greatest time. I almost feel bad, though. I should have given more of a warning.
Hey, I got a question for you real quick. You said you don't like Carolina tonight, you don't?
Well, I was loving Carolina tonight, and I still like them. But when I turned on the TV, right as I turned it on, the stat was up that Cam Newton could get his 8th straight loss, and I was like, man, Cam equals 8. 19's the 8th prime. We've seen so many streaks of 8 games in baseball this year. A caller just phoned in and said something about 19 and 8 not hitting. He's talking about something else. But in terms of streaks with 8 teams, there's been so many this year in baseball. I'm just wondering if that might transition into football, because oftentimes there's links between sports. 19 the 8th prime. 1 and 2 teams is getting a streak at 8 tonight. The Bucs are either losing their 8th straight game, or Cam Newton is losing his 8th straight start. So I have to look right now at the last time Cam Newton started and won, and the last time the Bucs won a road game, and see if I can figure out the riddle.
Hey, I question another thing. Who the best baseball for the Cubs won? They thank you for the tip for the Cubs. They won to the Cubs.
Yeah, the Cubs look good today.
This is a fucking
So
torture.
what about the night? What about the night though? Around 10 o'clock game. Any good 10 o'clock game tonight?
Let me see. The late games, a lot of the good games have already been played today, I think. Hold on, let me see. I got to go back and look. We like the. We like.
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
I'm sorry. Hey, what's up with the Dodgers and Baltimore game? What's up with that game?
The Orioles have the date numerology on their side again, but if the Dodgers win, they're going to be 95 wins and 39 away wins. Baltimore's 95 and Orioles is 39. So it's hard for me to not see them getting that 95 and 39. I don't know what that would be about if they didn't pick that up. So
No, I'm gonna leave one alone then. So really all the good games done for the day.
I'm scanning them. So it looks like the way we were leaning on a lot of games turned out that way. So it looks like it's been a good day. This Nationals at Twins game is very interesting. Hold on, let me pull up my stats real quick on baseball, and then we'll come back to the football game real quick. This Nationals at Twins game, I remember the head-to-head makes so much sense for the Nationals, but Gibson, the pitcher for the Twins, has a little riddle. I got to figure out where it's at.
Oh, cool. You got the City of God movie.
The Nationals at the Twins. All right, so the Twins can pick up their 33rd home loss today. Today has 33 date numerology. Nationals equals 33. They'd also pick up their 57th loss of the season, and Nationals equals 57. The Nationals could pick up their 40th away win. Today has 40 date numerology. And so that all looks really strong through the head-to-head. And again, these teams have a historical narrative. The Washington Senators became the Minnesota Twins. But Gibson, the Twins pitcher, just the thing I worry about is he could get his 33rd career home win on the 33 date numerology over the Nationals. So that's the That's the little trick with that game. The Rays at the Rangers, I probably wouldn't mess with that one tonight. You know what? The Athletics. Through Homer Bailey. If Homer Bailey wins tonight, he'll be 13-8 on the season, and then he plays his old team, the Kansas City Royals, who he got traded from earlier this year. Kansas City equals 148. So if he wins tonight and beats Kansas City, he'll become 148, the team he began with at the beginning of the year, and he'd also become 5-1 versus the Astros, and Houston Astros is 51. So, the Athletics have really put it on the Astros, and I'm guessing gamblers are thinking, the Astros are going to get some vengeance tonight, but I'm not sure. The date numerology is against the Astros, and Homer Bailey has a really good riddle. So, and you know what? That's a huge payout there with the Athletics tonight. Well, the line's come down. It was negative 310 this morning. Now it's negative 290. So you don't have to bet a lot on that game, but there's a riddle there with Bailey for sure. So.
Okay, I might skip for the night, man. I might skip for the night. You say be better days, right? Better days, right? Better days.
Of course, man. Be patient. Yeah.
Okay, no problem, man. Your friend made me laugh, man. He cool though.
All right, yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah, have a good day.
I gotta talk fast as fuck.
He's from Washington, D.C. He's a truck driver. He calls while traveling on the road. Well, I've been talking to him for like a year, so I learned how to understand every word he says. When he first called me, I was like, man, I don't think we're speaking the same language. But no, now I totally get every word he says. So.
That was weird, man. I gotta say, it's not like you stuttering.
No, man, he's awesome, man. He's great. He has good information too. All right, you guys, we're still on. Let's. No, he's great, man. I love that guy. We got to be more quiet. All right, we got to be more quiet. Caller?
Hey, what's up, Zach?
What's up, man?
One quick thing. Would we be able to look into this guy, Gerald McCoy? He's a former Tampa Bay Buccaneers player that plays for the Panthers now.
Okay, McCoy. Gerald McCoy.
Yeah, and supposedly, he was with Tampa for 9 seasons. They released him earlier this year, and then Carolina winded up signing him to a 1-year, $8 million contract. Another 8 right there.
Right.
And he won 93 in Tampa Bay, and they supposedly gave it away the very next day after they released him. They gave away his number, so that was something that burned him. I don't know if 93 means anything.
93, well, it is a big number. It's a number that has a lot to do with time.
Okay.
You know what's interesting? There's a player in the player who died in the NFL today. His name equals 93 in the most pure cipher. He played for the Bengals.
Oh, was that Terrell guy?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's interesting.
And supposedly the Panthers voted Charles McCoy their honorary captain for tonight's game. So
it's 199 days after his birthday, the 46th prime. We saw that number big in last Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about how 46 could connect to tonight's teams. I'll look and see if there's a 46 up there. Just see what that could be.
No problem.
All right. Appreciate it, man. All right, Gerald McCoy. Let's see. Let's see. I don't think there's any 46s in the stats. I just want to check real quick. Make sure it's not something that's right there. Yeah, I don't see any 46s. Okay. What I really want to go back, though, and look at is the one thing I keep saying. We need to go back and look at Cam Newton's last win. Let's see. His game log. Here we go. Cam Newton. 1, 2. He must not have played in this game? How can they say he's on 7 straight losses if he won this game right here? Huh. I know that's exactly what they put on the screen, that Cam Newton had lost 7 straight. Caller?
Zach, did you have Winston? He's got 12 straight road losses.
So he could be on his way to 14.
He could be, yeah. He could be. I just saw that on over here at the casino, so they had this stat over here on the network.
Okay, so, and again, when you write out 2, because it's week 2, when you write out 2 in the most pure cipher, it's 13 if he got his 13th straight this week. And I know that they put it right on the screen that Cam Newton lost 7 straight starts, but I finally just looked it up, and I see that he's only lost 2 in a row. Looks like he won. Or hold on. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the stats backward. That's why. Hold on. I got to figure this out. Hold on. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it is true. Never mind. He has lost 7 straight. The last time he won was November 4th. November 4th.
Yeah, the last time he won was against Tampa Bay, 42-28.
Right.
Yeah.
That was 312 days ago, or a span of 313, which is the 65th prime. I don't believe either team has a 65 connection either.
What's Rivera going for? How many wins?
Rivera's going for, let me see again. I believe it's his 75th all-time, if I'm not mistaken. He's going for his 75th all-time, which is interesting because Carolina Panthers is 75. In the regular season, he's going for 72 wins or 58 losses.
Stand up in the 65 then. Okay.
Yeah, so there's... I don't think there's any 65s out there, unfortunately. And that's 44 weeks and 4 days ago. All right, I'm going to look at the last time Tampa Bay won on the road. Appreciate it, Chris.
Yeah, one more thing. Case Keenum, if I'm not mistaken, he's lost 5 straight starts.
5 straight, huh?
I think so, yeah, if I quote that stat right. Whenever you get to that, that game.
All right, appreciate it, man.
All right, Zach.
All right, take care. Let's see. What's the easiest way to look at this? Or maybe this way. 2018 Buccaneers schedule. So the last time, all right, road games, they lost here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This day had 33 and 53 numerology. Carolina's 53. You know, today has the 33 date numerology too. It's the last time. Caller?
Yes.
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Hey, this is Charles from Indiana.
How's it going?
Well, still researching, man. I got some other stuff whenever you have the time allotment that I would like to talk about to help people and myself.
Okay. I'll give you a call back this evening.
Can you do that, please?
Yeah.
You have my number. All right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Have a great one.
All right,
Bye-bye.
take care. Okay. So hold on. I want to count this one more time. So they lost week 1. So we got to count back 7 more. So this would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But it looks like it goes back further than that. No, that's right. They beat the Buccaneers. That's right. That was the surprise game of week 1 last year. Drew Brees actually went down on 9-9 last year. That's right. That was a surprise game. Okay, so let's go back to that date. That was 9/9/2018. 9/9/2018 to today. 52 weeks and 4 days. Okay. 52 weeks. Just scanning to see if there's any 52s on the board. Don't remember seeing that number either. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. You could think of it, you know what else you could think of it as? Instead of 52 weeks, 4 days, you could also think of it as 53 NFL weeks, right? Because if they were playing Sunday, it would be 53 weeks later, and this is the first game of that week. Carolina is 53. And the date they played that game, let me see. The date the last Bucs versus Panthers game was right here. This game was 11/4/2018, a date with 53 numerology. So Carolina won on the 53 date. Now it's 53 weeks since the Bucs' last win, which was against a division opponent, the Saints. So those are some things to think about. But still, just based on the typical stats that perform week after week on Thursday Night Football, it does look good for the Panthers. And because the streak of 8 could go either way, it's kind of neutral. Caller?
Hey, I know you guys are talking football. When you brought up that 11-4 day, that's the Rams-Saints game last year where they met in the regular season. Same day.
Rams-Saints. Okay.
That was a prelude. That was a 114. Drew Brees, date numerology 114.
Right.
That was the same day the Rams played the Saints as a prelude to the NFC Championship.
And they're going to play each other again this week too, aren't they?
Yeah, they're playing each other. That's why I'm saying that they're playing again this week. It's the same schedule almost. And
so Los Angeles equals 53, Carolina's 53, and it was a 53 date numerology. So yeah, so it'll be 53 weeks later. That's interesting to think about.
All right. So, and let me just go back to my Super Bowl thing. Did you see the Hunter Henry injury?
Hunter Henry?
Yeah. Big riddle there because he went out on the game of the Chargers-Colts game, right? And he came back and caught a pass in overtime. But if you look up Hunter's real name, and I put this together, Hunter Mark Henry. And when you think of Hunter Mark Henry's a famous WWE wrestler.
Okay.
And that puts back Luck retiring on Vince McMahon's birthday, and his father being the XFL, CEO of the XFL.
Right.
Guess what award Hunter Henry won in college?
What's that?
The John Mackey Award.
Huh.
Guess where John Mackey played?
Huh.
2 teams.
Chargers?
And Colts.
Perfect.
So when you were thinking Colts, I'll go back to it again. When you were thinking Colts before the season started, the Colts and Chargers are very linked together with the Broncos.
Sure.
So that's the Mannings and the Colts and the Saints and all that stuff.
Right.
So I'm going to go back to I'm seeing more Chargers, Saints than I saw before. And that's Hunter Henry won the John Mackey Award, and the guy who's named the award played again. The week he got hurt, now he has this tibia fracture, or whatever, some probably fake injury or something.
Right.
When he comes back, it will be a big sign. He's supposed to be out like a month.
Okay.
You can mark it down that when he comes back, there'll be some link to it.
Sure, it'll be a perfect span of days, probably maybe like 43 days.
Or whatever it is, linked maybe before the Super Bowl or after his injury. How long it is, we don't know for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look into it.
But you got to look up Mark Henry. When I heard Hunter Mark Henry is a famous WWE wrestler.
Sure, and they link the WWE and NFL every single year in riddles.
Right, so there you go. Henry, Chargers, John Mackey, Colts, Chargers, and then Mark Henry tied back into Oliver Luck and with Vince McMahon and his father, I think.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
So I think that date with the Rams Saints that playing the same day you just mentioned has summer elements to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a bunch of riddles, and the more eyeballs and the more people understand this, the more they're going to catch on to it. So great work.
All right, man.
All right, take care.
Later.
Okay. So again, I'm just going to try to go real quick over the main points for people who got here late. Over the course of the week, the spread has stayed at 6.5 points. the over-under has increased half a point. And I think the over-under is a tough call today. It's at 49.5. I learned recently that Charlotte has a college team called the 49ers, and I always wondered what the link was with the 49ers in Carolina. There's been a few things over the years. George Seifert, the coach, plus more. But 49 is a special number. NFL's 49, America's 49. But in light of the two teams playing, Tampa Bay is 47 and Carolina's 53. So it's like, if you're watching in real time, you can make a judgment on where the game might go. If it's late in the game and a team's driving and there's a chance there could end up being 47 points on the board or 53 based on the scenario, just do some simple math. A lot of times you can make a quick projection if the scores are hanging around these numbers. In light of today's date numerology, 60, 33, 24, all being numbers that break down to 6, 2 plus 4 is 6, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 0 is 6. I wonder if we could see a 6-point game, But again, pay attention to pregame. Right now the money is huge on the Panthers. So, that could be a sign that the spread's not going to be covered, but keep an eye on pregame right up to game time, and you know what? We almost are at game time, so let's just take another look at it and see if it's changed. It was over 80-some% for the Panthers last time we looked. 1 second while this loads. Let's see. Well, so the money's not as heavy as it was about 20, 30 minutes ago. So some people are seeing that Panthers angle. We could even be watching this live stream. But anyway, the key points to know about the numbers for the game. 24 date numerology, the Panthers can get their 24th win versus the Bucs. A lot of times, wins and losses will follow the date numerology, so that's a positive sign for the Panthers. And you can make an argument out the Bucs staying on 12 losses at the Panthers on the 12th. You could also make an argument that they'd pick up their 13th loss because this is week 2, and when you write out 2 as a word, it's 13 in the most pure cipher. These relationships matter. Winston could become 8 and 19 away. 19's the 8th prime. When you learn your prime number relationships, 7 the 17th prime, 13 the 6th prime. 11's the 5th prime. I was like, wait a minute, what's the 5th prime? It's 11. When you learn your prime number relationships, it can help you pick up a lot of things and very repetitive patterns in sports with records. It's not always, but you'll notice that prime number relationships, when they're there, they go that way a lot more often than not. Winston could fall to 1 and 3 at Carolina in week 2. Remember, when you write out 2, it's 13. You could also say he could become 2 and 2 in week 2. That's another thought. Caller?
Hey, Beck. So I just had a website for you guys. It's called VegasInsider.com. And the money is actually more accurate. It's 88% right now and 12% money.
That's what it just showed a little bit ago. The last time we looked at Carolina, it was huge like that. It was in the high 80s. So the pregame's changed recently.
Yeah, it did. All right.
So are you sure Vegas Insider is better? Because this pregame seems to be like moving constantly in real time, whereas I notice other sites will hang around on a number for a while.
Oh, hang around there? Yeah, so right now it says 88%, and then on the spread, 30% is on Tampa Bay, 70% is on Panthers for the spread. But as far as the money line, there's only 12% for Tampa Bay.
Okay, that's how pregame looked, and we just looked at a little bit ago, so it jumped up.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, so the percentage he said is exactly about what it was when we looked at it 15, 20 minutes ago. All right, so just reviewing the key stats. So Winston has some numbers that go against him. Best argument for him is to become 2 and 2 at Carolina in week 2. But Cam Newton, when I saw this, I always go into Thursday Night Football looking for 41st because I just know how often that number shows up. And I saw, oh, there it is. Cam Newton can get his 40th home win. And TNF equals 40. Last week, again, Aaron Rodgers got his 40th away win in the regular season. 40, big number on TNF. And tonight, it goes in Cam Newton's favor. His all-time stats, if they wanted to do like a race-related ritual with the 2 black quarterbacks on primetime, I might worry about Newton getting his 59th all-time loss and staying at 42 all-time home wins. But usually the all-time is not where the riddle is. It's almost always in the regular season. And again, I made that point before last week's games, and if anyone used their own eyeballs, they saw how the regular season stats hit very well. The all-time stats did not. So it looks very good for Carolina. I just worry, again, about one thing. That stat they put up on the screen, Cam Newton could lose 8 straight, 19's the 8th prime. And it could be a passing of the torch because Jameis Winston is 54, his name, in the year of this season. Caller?
Hey, Zach, real quick, 2 points. So if you type out Thursday night football, it's 95. Cam Newton could fall to 9-5.
This is Thursday night football does equal 95. I know you're right about that.
Yeah, and
the Bears also had a chance at their 95th regular season win last week on 9-5. Didn't get it though.
And also, I don't know if you had the chance to do it yet. I haven't either. But have you looked ahead to the next matchup?
I did look down the road, and I didn't see anything that really synced with either team for the next game. And I tried to look a few down for the Panthers, and I just wasn't seeing it. So I was like, what could that mean? Could that mean that the Panthers' season's maybe not so significant? But, so,
all right.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out that it said.
So I'll point something out about when you write out the acronyms of the or when you write out the acronyms of the primetime games, those numbers usually show up a lot more than like the 95. But do keep an eye on that tonight. It's just like the Bears last week had a chance at the 95th regular season win and didn't get it, but Rodgers did get his 40th away win. So.
Right. All right. When you're going to start talking about the other games, I'm going to call back because I got some questions about like people's birthdays and line.
Well, check it out. I'm not going to do the other games tonight. I'm going to keep these notes up, but I'm going to keep working at it just because I can continue to do my decode. I want to do something tomorrow. So, if you want to call in about other games, I will. I'll jot down everything you say and take a look at it myself.
Okay. Well, I just got a quick question then. So like for fantasy football, I was looking up a couple of players. So if one of the guys I looked up wears number 11 and it's 11 weeks from his past birthday, would that be a good sign to play him?
He wears the number 11 and it's 11 weeks after his birthday, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I typically look at days, but I don't see why weeks wouldn't be important. I mean, the NFL counts its season in weeks, so yeah, I'd say that's a logical thought. 11's the master number. Football's a game of 11 on 11. It's a big number always. So yeah, 11 weeks after the birth. It's 11 weeks right on the nose.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Well, which player is it?
It's A.J. Brown for the Tennessee Titans.
A.J. Brown this week for the Titans.
Yeah. It was either 11 weeks past from his past birthday or 11 weeks to his upcoming birthday. I don't really remember. But that was one of the key ones, and then that one was like spot on with 11. And then I know sometimes when you look up players' gematria for their names, like if that number is in the span of their birthday, I know that's usually good too, right?
Right. It's like Sammy Watkins, his full name. Sammy Watkins, his full name equals 87, and he had a monster fantasy weekend. Maybe the best fantasy weekend for a position player. It was his 87th day of his age.
Right.
So
another player is T.J. Hawkinson. He's a rookie tight end for the Lions. It's going to be his 75th day of his age, and in the blue cipher, the most accurate cipher is 75 for his full name. So I'm thinking that's probably a good one too, right?
I would agree. I would take risks on those guys. Sometimes, like I said, like when it lines up perfectly, they have like the worst game of their career. But it seems more often than not it's a positive sign. But sometimes it'd be like, well, what was wrong tonight? You might read that he had this horrible game and got injured, and you're like, that's interesting. So,
all right, cool, man. Right on. Thank you.
All right, yeah, welcome. But again, it's a law of averages. So if a strong alignment is a sign that he could have like that game of the season. And it's more likely that it's going to be that way than, he could have one of his worst game of his career. Of course, you want to take the shot. If you put Sammy Watkins in your roster this weekend, you obviously did awesome. So, in here we can do that for the position players for tonight's game, just for practice. For people who are new here, let's just practice things. Again, it's about learning so you can apply the knowledge, because this stuff, it's not that complicated once you learn to recognize the patterns. And again, if you're watching this video, make sure you're looking at this cheat sheet It's got every NFL team, all their gematria, all their entire season schedule, a whole bunch of relevant stats for the season. So, anyway, let's do this here in a second. Caller?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, man?
Hey, real quick, for the guy who called in for fantasy, tell him to be careful when it's lining up with the weeks instead of just the days. The days is more pure that I found out because Jason Goff, he had a good riddle with Derek Goff. I think his birthday was like 1 week and 6 days, and number 16, he had an all right day.
Right.
So tell him to be careful with that. But when it matches the days, that's when it's really good.
Yeah. I typically go with the days, but just 11 being so special, I'd make an assumption that that's probably a good sign. Football has a lot to do with 11, so.
Yeah. Then I had another one. Have you looked into that Sam Darnold sickness? He got mono.
I got to do the research on that. I saw that story, so I think that's a favorable sign for the Browns this weekend because if Baker Mayfield wins, he's 7-8. Cleveland 78. So is New York.
And mono equals 57.
I think New York Jets is 57 too.
And that's World Series too, right?
Well, it is a World Series number indeed. Yeah.
And mononucleosis is 57 in 168, I believe, something like that.
Huh. Interesting.
So maybe it's a little bit deeper. So
it could be. He's in New York.
Right.
So yeah, that's a good observation. All right, appreciate it, man.
All right, take it easy.
See you.
I feel like I've died into hell, man.
Oh no! Now you feel bad?
No, I do.
before you were on cloud 9. Let's see, man.
This is hell, dude. I can't even get out. I've been on the fucking floor for about an hour now.
Do you need help?
No.
All right, lesson for all people: if you ever experiment with edible marijuana, be careful. It's a lot more potent than smoking it. That's for sure. So, especially if you go to one of these states where it's legal. Caller?
Hi, Zach.
Yes.
I got an inquiry about fantasy tonight. I made a decode, I believe, for if you Google Cameron Moore right now. So this is interesting. He was born on November 12th. He died like a couple of years back in 2016. Could have been in like some type of sacrifice or whatever. Obviously, you got Cameron. Is Cameron Newton's full name. And then Moore, DJ Moore, is his receiver, who also happens to be number 12, was taken 24th overall last year's draft. I'm liking that synergy a lot this night. Also, O.J. Howard is 40. And I believe, DJ, too, is 40 as well. And I think reverse order. And then full reduction is DJ. So
yeah, these are great observations. O.J. Howard's 40 and 41. Those are the two numbers on Thursday Night Football. TNF is 40 and 41. Last week, Rodgers became 40 and 41 away in the regular season. So, yeah, this O.J. Howard has the name. He's the kind of guy that could really light it up tonight. So, yeah, that's what you want to look for. You want to know the numbers that correspond with the date, the game. Thursday Night Football and 40, it just shows up all the time, from scores to all-time wins to a guy blowing up and having a monster game, and you plug his name in the calculator like, oh, his name sums to 40. So, yeah, great work.
Yeah, and Cameron Bray also, just with the name Cameron. So I think there's something with this Cameron Moore. I think just looking at take a look. November 12th, 1990 was his birthday. So, kind of interesting.
Okay.
Oh, we're in September, though. But,
right.
Never mind.
Yeah. All right, man. Appreciate it.
Bye.
See. Okay. His birthday is November 19th. He's 24 years old. We got 24 date numerology. Let's see how the game syncs up with his birthday. Let's see. It's 42 weeks and 3 days after his last birthday, and It's 297 days. I'm not sure if that number is prime. Let me double check. It's not. If you do the number thing, it'll tell you if the number's prime. It'll say yes in bright green. And then to his upcoming birthday, 68 days, or a span of 69. Just thinking about that. I'm just thinking about that. I like how they have him listed at 251 pounds. That's the 54th prime. And Jameis Winston, his name sums to 54. So if they were going to give, whoops, gotta spell his name right. If they were going to give Jameis Winston a special season just because he has the number of the year, you would think that might be a positive sign. But he had a good riddle to win last week over the 49ers, and he lost. Still, a lot's being sorted out at this part of the season. That's why it's also, if you're new here, it's good to observe and start to document the patterns yourself. But what I can tell you over the years is the number that shows up on Thursday Night Football again and again is 40. I always look for it first. And when I looked, I said, Cam Newton get his 40th home win. That looks like what you want. But if you're doing fantasy football, again, O.J. Howard could have a nice game tonight. Tight end, a lot of QBs throwing to the tight end in the modern era. And about the 68 days from his birthday, let me look at his full name real quick. Otarius Jabari Howard. Let's see. His full name, if it's synced up, it could be. His full name's 100 too. Look at that. And when you write out 100, it's 54. This guy could be something else this year. This guy could have, and again, he's got the quarterback with the 54 name thrown to him. So yeah, if you're in fantasy, you're trying to make some trades, maybe on some prospects. I don't know what this guy's fantasy stock is, 'cause I haven't played fantasy football lately, but he's got numbers, 154. And again, this is the value of this knowledge. You go through and you see who has the special connections. And again, it's always a good sign when it's the amount of days from a player's birthday that is their jersey number. We saw that last week on Thursday Night Football. It was 80 days from Jimmy Graham's birthday. He wears the number 80. He got the only touchdown of the game, the first and only. Jimmy Graham, number 80, 80 days from his birthday. Sammy Watkins, again, his full name. That's why if you're looking up these players, go on the internet, find their full name, and then do the measurements as well. Look at the player name and look at the full name too. They're both definitely relevant, just like we just saw with O.J. Howard. His NFL name was, hold on, what was it again? It was 40, like Thursday Night Football, and then he's got the full name that syncs with the season. But again, Sammy Watkins, his full name, 87. He had a monster fantasy day. It was his 87th day of his age. All of these ciphers matter, but the most significant is this dark blue one that's labeled full reduction. It's the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. It's what most numerologists teach is the number that's relevant to your name. This one right here. So, anyway. Some people think all this stuff that happens week after week is just the Matrix, and other people think it's rigged. I lean towards the rigged based on what I see. But one way or another, you follow these patterns, you'll see what happens. So, let's go through the position players for each team tonight, just for practice. Bucs, NFL.com. Let's see, depth chart. Let me get a better one here. Okay, so Mike Evans, Cameron Brate, Donovan Smith. So that O.J. Howard, he's not even the starter, huh? So he could be like a deep sleeper, that guy. Maybe somebody gets hurt, he comes out and emerges. Okay, let's see. This is current for this year, isn't it? Yeah, this is the Buccaneers.com website. All right. So let's just look at the guys. Let's look at Mike Evans and see how things line up with him in tonight's game. And you know what? The game is on right now. I'm going to put the game on in the background so we can hear it. Give me 1 second. Let's Let's see. It's on, I know it's on NFL Network. One second while it loads here real quick.
Aaron Rodgers to Richard Rodgers wouldn't have happened.
All right, so the game hasn't quite started. I'll keep it on in the background, though, so we can tune it in while we talk about this. Mike Evans, his birthday is August 21st, so that means it's 22 days after his birthday, Evans. That's another master number. There's two master numbers, 11 and 22. Football's a game of 11 on 11, 22 men on the field. If you write out Master Builder, the Master Builder number is 22. Master Builder is 147. So is Freemasons, and they used to be the Master Builders. And American football is credited to Freemasonry. That's why the first NFL Sunday to Super Bowl Sunday is 147 days. 22, the Master Builder number. So anyway, it's 22 days after Evan's birthday. And he's number 13. Again, when you write out 2, it equals 13. So like a ritual you might see in the game that you might catch in real time. I'm not saying this is the way it's going to be, but you'll just catch things like this a lot. If Mike Evans, say, scored the second touchdown of the game for the Bucs, they got a second touchdown, you know, he wears the number 13. 2's 13. It's week 2. So, all right, let's see. Mike Evans. Let's run his name too. Michael Lynn Evans. 111. Yesterday was the day leaving 111 days left in the year. New York equals 111. You see the Mets 111 today. All right, let's see. Mike Evans has that 54 connection too. Interesting. Huh. So Mike Evans. I'm just thinking about down the road for him. 26, 23, 40. All right, let's see.
Hey, dude, do you have some honey?
I got honey. You need honey?
No, I'm just thinking like when you make that smoothie bowl, you could add some honey.
Yeah, you got it, man. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm glad that while I'm thinking about that. I think it's killing my.
That's funny.
This is what tastes good right about now. Oh, man.
Let's see here. Okay, so Mike Evans, 22 days after his birthday. He does have the magic number this year. I got to see how he performed last week based on the fact that they played Sunday, and that was the 251st day of the year, the 54th prime. Just want to see what kind of game he had on that day. Could be a clue about his season. Let's see. Or whoops, wrong week. I need to go over last week.
Do not dip your nuggets in my sauce.
Let's see.
Hey, no, son. Outside. I'm inside. Always right. Boy.
Let's see. O.J. Howard last week, 4 receptions for 32 yards. Remember, his name is 40. Big number on TNF. TNF's 40. Looks like Evans didn't have much of a game. So, still hard to tell from week 1. Winston didn't either. Remember, the 49ers, if they would have lost in this game, they would have been 5-4 versus the Bucs. It was the only 54 riddle that didn't come through this Sunday. So... all right, just reading these notes here. Okay. All right, hold on. let's look at more position players here. Let's see. That's not how I want it. I need the depth chart. Okay, let's look at this Cameron Brate. See what he's got going on. All right, his birthday is July 3rd. Carolina's 37. His birthday can be written 3-7. He's playing in Carolina, prime time. Shouldn't the game be on right now? What is this? It's on commercial.
Follow my guy James Jones. That's when you're gonna find out what's going on. We know the league better than anything. They create so many mismatches.
I'm just going to keep the game stream in the background while I figure out the numbers for Cameron Brate, and then I'll mute it and tell you what you need to know about this guy. Let's see.
This is NFL Network, the place where football and culture collide. It's the collision of the GOATs and the MCs.
It's on commercials though right now. All right, 71 days. And Cameron Brate's 52-74. Let's see. Okay. I don't see anything that's screaming out about him. Let's see. Oh, maybe Cameron Brate's the blocking tight end and O.J. Howard's the receiver. I see. They got a double tight. Okay. 2 tight end offense. All right, so we know what's up with O.J. Howard. Again, his name is 40, which is usually a big number on Thursday Night Football. Tonight, Cam Newton could get his 40th home win. His birthday was November 19th. One more time with those numbers here. Okay, 68 days. But the thing about O.J. Howard is his full name equals 100th NFL season, could have a special year, and then O.J. Howard 40, which is often a big number on Thursday Night Football. Chris Godwin. Let's see. February 27th. He's born on the 58th day of the year. Caller?
Hey, one thing I just saw when you were looking up O.J. Howard's birthday, it's 9 weeks and 5 days, like 95.
Okay.
On Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
So maybe he has a big game tonight.
Yeah, he's got that 40 number. That's the magic number on Thursday Night Football. So I wouldn't be surprised if he exceeded expectations.
Yeah, and then on the other side, Christian McCaffrey, I think his full name is 95 too.
And they're obviously trying to make a big star out of him. The opening day, I had the TV run in the background, and I just kept hearing his name and stories about him. And
yeah, I think he was the closest to getting 50 fantasy points, and that's like rare. Last week he got like 48 or something like that. So yeah, he's like super good.
Yeah, he's kind of like the great white hope of the NFL right now too. So
yeah, he is.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right, appreciate it, man.
Bye.
Yeah, he's like, what, you thought white people weren't fast? But, yeah, they really hyped him up last week. So, all right. Let's see what else. So he was saying he spotted the 9 weeks and 5 days, and that's always good. Why? Because, again, Thursday Night Football is 95. So the acronyms seem to be more consistent than the full written-out sentence. And again, I'll remind you, last week the Bears had a chance at their 95th regular season win on 9-5. Thursday Night Football 95, they didn't get it. TNF 40, Rodgers got his 40th away win. And I've just noticed over the years, for whatever reason, the acronyms are the most consistent. So, We need more position players here. Let's see. Winston. We got Winston's information. Peyton Barber. Is he related to Tiki Barber? Rondé Barber? June 27th. It's 77 days, or 11 weeks after his birthday. There's that master number 11. Is North Carolina 77 when you run it in reverse? Yeah, North Carolina is 77. So he's playing in North Carolina. And 11 weeks that master number. Let's see. Gotta run his name here. Caller?
Yo.
Yep.
Yeah. So, speaking on that 40, you said Cam could get his 40th win.
Uh-huh.
So I looked ahead to next week. The Tennessee Titans play the Jaguars.
Okay.
And it's 40 days from Marcus Mariota's birthday, so the 40 shows up again on Thursday night.
Yeah, you're just now that you know this, you're gonna just observe every. It's like, how do they always get this 40 in here? But they do.
Yeah, so I was just looking ahead, and I just saw that 40, and I'm just like, yeah, the 40s are very consistent.
I've been doing this for years, so when I lose, I'm telling you, I'm losing off things that usually go that way. And I mean, it's just, had I not seen that stat on the screen that Cam Newton could get his 8th straight loss, I'd be like, I just think that this was in the bag. But that's the only thing that worries me. Again, the Bucs can get their 8th straight loss on the road, and again, 19's the 8th prime. We've just seen a ton of streaks of 8 in baseball this year, so I'm mindful of that right now.
And we're going to be talking about the other games tomorrow, right?
Right, yeah. So I'm going to finish all my decoding, and then we'll do a discussion, and then we'll do a bigger one Saturday.
All right. I have a Super Bowl riddle for you. I don't know if you went over it or not, but it could wait for tomorrow. But
it's up to you, man. It's up to you.
I mean, you looked up the Saints connections, right?
Right.
And you've seen the Gematria of Drew Brees' owner?
I have it here in the packet.
Yeah, her name is Gail Benson, right?
Right, yes it is.
And, her name has the same Gematria as where the Super Bowl is being played, right? Miami Gardens, Florida.
Right.
And it has the 178 and the 119. And you look at Drew Brees' record right now, and he's taking away the win from Houston. Without that win, he's 163 wins, and he has 115 all-time losses. And I was just thinking, like, maybe if they go 12-4, he'll have 175 wins going into the playoffs, and he'll have 119 losses.
Yeah, those are great thoughts.
Yeah, and if he goes to the Super Bowl and win, that'll be 178 wins and 119 losses to end the season.
Huh. Yeah, very interesting, man. Great work.
All right, but just threw that in there. But all right, I'll let you go back to your decode though.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Let's see. Football's almost all commercials. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so I was just going back because he brought up the owner, and I was looking. I don't know why he keeps doing that. Oh, there it is. I was just looking up the owner's name, and there's nothing that screams out about her name. Well, hold on. I forgot to do hers like that. It doesn't scream out in terms of the date of the Super Bowl. But what I do find interesting is that the Super Bowl's on her 8th day of her age, because Saints is 19, the 8th prime, and the Super Bowl's on Drew Brees' 19th day of his age, which will be 41 when the Super Bowl rolls around. He'll turn 41 years old. Super Bowl's 41 last year. Brady won it at 41. So the Saints are definitely a team with a narrative this year. They got the most 54 connections to the Super Bowl. New Orleans is 54, and Drew Brees is 54. So, Drew Brees 54, and New Orleans up here. New Orleans 54. All right, but coming back to these position players, Peyton Barber. I was talking about Peyton Barber before the call. What's interesting about him tonight is, let me get this here. Again, it's 77 days after his birthday. North Carolina is 77. And sometimes, like, this is the kind of thing where, like, if you see him have, like, a really horrible game, like, if he keeps fumbling the ball, for example, you might be like, okay, so that's how they did the riddle with it being the 77 North Carolina connection in light of him being the away team. But also, if he had a monster game tonight, you'd be like, okay, so he tore it up in North Carolina. And that's the thing about these riddles. I always look if it has a connection to the jersey or the name. Sometimes you find these other things like 77 in North Carolina. That's the one that could really go either way on you. If he ends up being the reason the Panthers won tonight, you'd get it, right? You'd be like, okay, you pretty much won the game for North Carolina the way you fumbled and lost yardage and kept tripping or whatever the narrative was. It's also 11 weeks, though. Again, 11 weeks. Football, a game of 11 on 11, the master number. And I noticed his name, Peyton Barber. I think it was spelled like this. Yeah, this is how it was spelled because it's summed to 66. That's the 11th triangular number. That's why the first Super Bowl season was the year 66. NFL in the Jewish cipher, which is the most important outside of these base ciphers, NFL is 66. Not by accident. So, I'm going to really watch O.J. Howard tonight. You know, just 40 in Thursday Night Football has quite a track record. Okay, I thought the game already started. Why is it that every time I go it's on a commercial? So Bucs are driving 4th and... Oh, no, that was a punt. I see. Okay. Let's just go take a peek now at the Carolina Panthers and see how their position players are. So let's check out DJ Moore. Let's see what he's got going on. Close some tabs here real quick. DJ Moore. Whoops. Oh, it's because I got an O in there. All right, April 14th, that's the 104th day of the year. And he's 22 years old. Right, let's try it out. Denniston Morton Jr. All right, his full name is North Carolina Panthers. Maybe not. All right, Denniston Moore Jr. and he goes by DJ Moore. 37 like Carolina. 37, okay. And from his birthday. Pay attention to the games where he has like 37 yards receiving at the half, 37 yards by the end of the game just because his name and Carolina are both 37. You'll be surprised how often things happen like that. It's 151 days after his birthday, the 36th prime. And, yeah, I don't think that connects. Okay. Okay. So DJ Moore, nothing's really screaming out to me. What's his jersey number? That's what I'm missing. Number 12. Well, Carolina 37, the 12th prime. I mean, he's obviously a symbolic player. He's got the right name, 37, the 12th prime. I wonder how he performs in week 12. That's another way to think about the jersey numbers. Sometimes when they have relationships with the week. So, does DJ Moore ball out in week 12? Does he score the opening touchdown? Oftentimes when you're paying attention, that's kind of the way things are. You'll notice how many times players this year score touchdowns where their jersey number leads to the score on the game, sometimes with the extra point. Number 17 scores the 16th points, extra point. There's 17 points up on the board. Kind of stuff happens all the time when you pay attention. So, DJ Moore and let's see, Greg Olsen. Let's see what's going on with Greg Olsen. Cam Newton always loves Greg Olsen. Let's see. Caller?
Hey, they just suspended the game because of weather.
Really?
Yep. It's like a big rainstorm and lightning strikes right now.
Man, I wonder how long. Oh, now what? Okay, this might sound stupid if you're new here, but if you go through my blog and type in NFL lightning, so often the length that they pause the game, let's just say they come back and it's a 47-minute delay. Pay attention to see how 47 shows up in the game. If there ends up being 47 points. Over the years, we've documented so many things like this with primetime games and lightning delays, and then a major pattern in the stoppage with the outcome of the game. So when they come back from that stoppage time, listen to how long they say it is, because they'll give you the number, and all the mainstream media will report on the exact specific number. So pay attention to that. Again, for people who are new here, if you guys are just waking up, some of this might blow your mind, but weather warfare is a real thing, and they sync it up every year. I always tell people in Seattle, I live in Seattle, I always say, how come every week or every year, NFL Week 1, we have the craziest weather, the craziest wind? Does anyone notice that this happens every year, Week 1? And it just does. And it happened again this year. This year, Seattle had a massive downpour and flooding and lightning that delayed the Huskies game until 10:30 p.m., and that was September 7th, the day before the Seahawks opener. So anyway, they'll report literal riddles in the weather disruptions, just like how a couple years ago, Matt Harvey was the first pitcher to pitch in Houston after the flooding of Harvey, and he pitched exactly 52 days before the World Series, and flood and hurricane is 52. Plus, Houston flooded on a 52 date. So anyways, crazy as this sounds, pay attention to that number when they put it out, because that could even be.
And the weather right now looks like it's not going to stop until about 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. So I don't know if they would suspend the whole game.
I don't think so. They just have it late.
Yeah, they would just have it late, huh?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So.
All right, man.
All right. It'll probably be around an hour, though. That's what they've typically been in recent years.
Yeah, and an hour is 60 minutes, and today has 60-day numerology, right?
That's true, too.
Huh, that's funny. All right.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
All right, later.
Okay. Let's see the situation when the game stopped. Is this delayed? I want to see what the information is. How much time is on the clock? Are they putting that on the screen? Let's see. All right, we can figure it out this way. So they've had the ball for it's 6 minutes and 29 seconds into the game according to ESPN. 6 minutes and 29 seconds. That's 389 seconds. Is that prime number? Sometimes they do stuff like this. It's the 77th prime. You see this? So the game is stopped 389 minutes or seconds into the game, excuse me. 389 is the 77th prime. We were just talking about how North Carolina equals 77, and we were just looking at that player, the running back, Barber. It's 77 days after his birthday. So, and I imagine with bad weather, it's going to be a night on the ground, huh? You'd think. Well, you just never know in this new modern NFL crazy world of sports, but I was just getting to Greg Olsen. Okay, let me get back to Olsen. I'm doing my best here with the distractions today. All right, I noticed Greg Olsen, his full name is 95, like Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football, 95. And, okay, so Greg Olsen's, seems to always be one of Cam Newton's favorite targets. His birthday is March 11th. So the game is 185 days after his birthday. Mathematics is 185. Let me see something. National Football League, isn't it? National Football League's just 85. National Football League. Okay. So, 185 days. That means to his upcoming, it's 180. 180. Let's see. Let me see. Okay, well, he's got the right name for Thursday Night Football, so that's his little interesting piece, Greg Olson. Color?
Hey, what's up, Zach?
What's up, man?
Hey, they said the game should restart 9:09 Eastern Standard Time.
9:09, huh?
99.
Okay, 99th NFL season. Maybe we should go back and look at last year's games real quick. That's interesting.
Hey, I can hear that guy snoring, too.
Yeah, man, be careful.
All right,
take care, man. Caller?
Hey, anything with the start time? We got 9:09.
Yeah, the last caller just phoned in with the 9:09. So I'm going to look at that and think about it. 9:09, that's 21:09 military time. So I'm going to go back and look at last year's game since it was the 99th NFL season and see what lines up.
Got it. Okay. And then one more off topic, but still NFL related. The Chargers are 5-0 without Melvin Gordon. They're going for 6 against Detroit.
6-0 versus Detroit, huh?
Yeah. Right now they're 5-0 without Melvin Gordon. He's not going to play, so they're trying for 6 straight, and they'll be playing in Detroit.
All right. Let me run the numbers on Detroit Lions real quick and just see if anything pops up. Detroit Lions. So let's see. Is there a 5-1 or 60 connection? Scanning it right now. I'm seeing.
Maybe Ford Field.
Ford Field. No. I'm scanning all the information I have in the post, and I'm just seeing Matt Patricia's 50. That's not going to help us. Stafford. All right, I got to look at the Chargers. Maybe the answer's with the Chargers, so let me try that out real quick.
Matt Patricia's 50. Well, they're going in 5-0.
Right, right. Let me see. All right, I'm on the wrong Los Angeles team. I need the Chargers. All right, here we go. Is there a sync here? I'm scanning. Let's see. I'm not spotting a 51 or a 60, so we're going to have to go elsewhere on that one.
Got it. Okay. We got to bring it up as soon as up.
The one thing that jumps out on the surface about that game is that the Chargers are 2-4 at the Lions, so the Lions are 4-2 versus the Chargers. If the Lions lost, they'd be 4-3, and Chargers is 43. So the head-to-head record would have a riddle in it, which they typically do. So I'm gonna look at it more, but that's the thing that really jumps out about that game.
Interesting. Okay.
All right.
Well, let's see if let's try to monitor the Chargers, and maybe they'll get to 8-0 without Gordon.
Oh, yeah, streaks of 8. Yeah, that's a thought. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Let's see.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Yep.
See you. All right, so Curtis Samuel, I was going to check out the next receiver here, see how his stuff synced up. Curtis Samuel, born August 11th. It's kind of like the day this year. Let's see. So today is 32 days after his birthday. NFL 32, 32 teams. America 32. It's also his 33rd day of his age if you count the span. 33. I know week 2 equals 33. I don't know how much weight I'd put in that though. Curtis Samuel, he wears the number 10. Know your number relationships. The number 10 has a relationship with the number 4. 10-4. If you add 1 through 4 together, it equals 10. 10's the 4th triangular number. So you want to know your number relationships because, you know, those are the things you want to think about in fantasy. Okay, number 10. This could be a week where he performs well because it's week 4 and there's a mathematical relationship with 4 and 10. Well, let's see. August. Okay. Let's check out his name then. Curtis Samuel. I notice a lot of receivers wear small jersey numbers now. And a part of me wonders that if it's because we have small date numerology since we're in these early part of years. Like in the 1980s, just to give you guys a numerology thought to just help your mind think about this information more. You know, like, let's compare the date January 1st, 2001 and the date January 1st, 1999 in one of the date numerology methods. And this method is 1 plus 1 plus 20 plus 01, which is, if I can add right, 21. What's wrong with me? 23. 1, 2, 23. 1 plus 1 plus 20 plus 01. So yeah, 20 plus 1 plus 3 times. Going back to elementary school. It's harder to decode when somebody's snoring behind you. But anyway, now look at the date January 1st, 1999 in that same method. 1 plus 1 plus 19 plus 99 is 120. So just to make a point about how at the end of the 90s numbers were bigger, and now that we're in this different year where the year numbers are smaller on most days, maybe that's why we're seeing like this influx of jersey numbers, small receiver numbers. What's up, caller?
Hey, so it was 8 minutes and 31 left in the first quarter, and the time was 8:40 Eastern when the.
So that's exactly right. Then it's 6 minutes and 29 seconds into the game, which is 389 seconds, which is the 77th prime. So that could be a sign about tonight's game.
That's so crazy how they do that up.
It is crazy, but we've documented it year after year. We've been like, oh my God, they're syncing up the reporting of the weather storm with the numbers in the game. So, I mean, I almost feel embarrassed telling people this because it sounds so stupid, right? But then you just observe it and you're like, oh my God, like, how is this even possible?
Yeah, I tried telling my buddy last night about all this stuff, and like I even showed him the proof, and like I showed him one of your videos, and he just wants to like call me crazy, you know, and shit. And I said, you know what, dude? Then just keep believing the lies, you know, and like it's people that are ignorant like that, they just can't see through the lies, man. It's stupid.
Well, the reason there's a man snoring behind me is because he started sharing this knowledge with everybody, and everyone said he was crazy. And then he was planning to go see me in Philadelphia, so he took off this vacation time for the first time in 8 years. And he's like, well, what am I going to do now that you're not going to Philly? I was like, well, I suppose you can come visit me. So anyway, he came out here for a couple days. So we just met today. And
that's interesting. With the 8:40 p.m. Eastern was when they stopped it, so that would leave 29 minutes, a span of 29 minutes for the delay. I don't know if that has any kind of connection with any of the teams, but that's if they resume game.
29 minutes from the stop time to the end of stop time?
It would be 29 minutes if they resumed at 9:09.
Football's 29, so yeah, it's part of the riddle too. Could be the winning score tonight, 29 points.
Oh man, that would be good for the under. I mean, it looks bad too with the weather. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to check out. I'm going to look online right now and see if bets on the under or over are suspended.
If it's a running game, remember that running back for the Bucs, it's 77 days after his birthday in light of the way they're doing the ritual with stopping the time.
Yep. All right, man, I'll let you get to it.
All right, thanks. Yeah, man, it sucks that you try to share this information with people and they have such a horrible reaction because it's like, man, it's completely provable. You can observe it every single day. I mean, like, who's denying what the Mets did today or yesterday? You know, 9 runs, 11 hits on 9/11, and then people don't know Gematria. They'd realize New York equals 111, September 11th, the day leaving 111 days. They score 11-1 the day after. Caller?
Hey, what's going on, Zach?
What's up?
Sorry to keep calling.
No, it's all good.
Hey, what does 77 have on the game?
Okay, so it was just funny the way it happened in real time because we noticed that the Barber running back for the Bucs, it's 77 days after his birthday. I said North Carolina equals 77. Then we found out about the weather delay, and we saw they stopped the game at the 389th second, which is the 77th prime number. So I'm thinking, they're calling attention to 77. So I need to look to see if there's a number 77 on the team. Or it could be a sign that maybe that running back will have a good game since it's bad weather. Maybe they run the ball more than normal. Maybe he has some big plays.
Mm-hmm.
So
let me say, I got this for you. If you look at the weather, it's showing that the storm is going straight down I-77.
That's what I'm talking about with the weather warfare, man. That's what I'm talking about with the weather warfare. So that's crazy.
And then they changed the resume time to 9:05, so 95.
Okay. Avoid I-77 south or sit in traffic with hurricane evac. Oh, that's from 2 years ago on this day. Strange. All right, I got to look into that. If you could send me a picture of that somehow, I would be so grateful.
Well, it's on TV. Okay.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'll figure it out then. Don't even worry about it, man. I thought maybe you had it on your phone. All right, thank you. All right, thanks. And by the way, you guys, speaking of the weather and football, another thing that sounds really dumb, but you can observe week after week, is they'll report weather temperatures for games all week. Like, they know the weather exactly, and it'll be the same temperature at game time. But you'll notice that the temperatures that they report, like, earlier this week, they said it was going to be 95 degrees. This game time update, they're still saying it's 95 degrees. And again, Thursday night football is 95 in the Most Beer Cipher. It's going to be 95 degrees for Thursday night football, and now we got the weather delay by the numbers. There was 195 on the board. Let me go back to that. Where was that 95 at? The 195 concern is that Winston could become no, that should say versus Bucs. I gotta fix the way I wrote that. That should say versus Bucs. Check something out real quick. Just noticed something I want to verify real quick. The full name of Ron Rivera is 95 too. Just noticed that. Ronald Eugene Rivera, 95. Interesting. So, let me see. Caller, you're on.
Hey, how you doing? Just a little update. So they had on the board that Jameis Winston hasn't won a road game in 12 road games.
He hasn't won in 12 road games, huh?
Correct. So if he wins, that would be 1 in 12, and the last time he won was December the 4th, 2016, and from that day to today is 1,012 days.
Was it 2017 or 2016?
2016, I'm sorry.
No, it was 16, 1-6?
Yeah, 2016, December 4th.
That's a long time ago. He must have missed some starts. I guess he did. Okay. That's 1,012 days. 1012, 144 weeks and 4 days. Huh. I gotta think about that. All right, I'll look at that. All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, let me just make sure I'm not missing something with that number. Thursday night football's 112. 112. It's 1,012 days. That is interesting. I gotta think about that. That's interesting. All right, let me jot some of these things in the notes here so we remember to evaluate them. Caller?
Yeah, I forgot to say something. I was rushing it off. The Chargers played in one Super Bowl in their history, right?
Okay.
Where do you think the game was played?
Miami?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Well, what Super Bowl number was that? That was 40. The 49ers scored 49 points on them.
It was 49-26 or something like crazy score like that, right?
I remember the 49ers scored 49. NFL and Super Bowl equal 49.
And then of course the Colts played only their Super Bowls in Miami. And this is the 11th Super Bowl at the stadium, the master number.
Okay.
This will be the 11th Super Bowl in Miami.
11, okay. That's something to think about too. So.
And for something stupid, Philip Rivers has 9 kids.
Right. I got to go back and look at that. So.
Is there something with the Miami? Because you were the one that said earlier this season the Colts, the only time they played the Super Bowl was in Miami. And the only Super Bowl the Chargers have played in was in Miami.
The Colts have won their Super Bowls in Miami, and the original Colts franchise was called the Miami Seahawks. They folded and became the Baltimore Colts, and then eventually Indianapolis.
Right.
Yeah. So
if the Colts only won their Miami, and the Chargers have only been to Miami, and now they're going back to Miami.
Right, and they played each other opening week. So
and there goes back to the Colts link again, right? It keeps coming back to the Colts. You were all of them early, and then once Luck retired, it paved the way.
Yeah. So
all right.
Yeah.
You guys are screwing with the weather time, and does a weather break in the game or something?
Yeah, for lightning.
Wait, what's on the Chargers helmet?
They do this every season though. So I mean, if that was true, they'd win the Super Bowl every year. But
no. I think there's. If you go look at their original helmet, the Chargers, it's a horse.
Sure.
Like Colts and Broncos and Chargers, and right. So they changed that. I don't know what year, but the original helmet was an animal, a horse, I believe.
That might be something worth investigating and see what they used to call that type of horse on the helmet. I bet the information's out there. Things like that can matter.
So Hunter Henry's going to come back on October 25th.
October 25th?
That'll leave 100 days to the Super Bowl.
And Los Angeles Chargers is 100. So.
Yeah. That's why they had to move. That's why they had to move from San Diego.
Right. Yeah.
That didn't make any sense for them. San Diego Chargers didn't link up, so they had to move to LA.
Right. Yeah. Perfect.
All right, man.
All right, that'll sell some tickets too. All right, appreciate it, man.
Sure. Bye.
Okay, so October 25th, the day leaving 67 days left in the year. Well, the Super Bowl is on the 33rd day of the year, so yes, that is 100 days later. And Super Bowl's February 2nd. So that's a possible scenario we've been talking about for months. If this year's all about Drew Brees, what a mockery the Super Bowl would be if it was Saints and Chargers, because Brees began his career with the Chargers. And like I told people, if you want to put some small futures down, I'd put it down on some, because we're going to figure out something a lot better as the season goes on. Probably by week 3, we've been able to figure out the Super Bowl typically by that time or before then. So Saints Chargers is a possible narrative, and then after we were talking about that, ESPN ran their simulation and said that's what the Super Bowl was this year. That'd be another way to mock people. ESPN go, wow, that's exactly what we simulated before the year. I could just see them talking about it. And but we've also seen a really good narrative from last Thursday, perfectly synced up with Bart Starr, and that is super hard to ignore, the Packers and Chiefs narrative. That could be another small future just to put down in case it hits while the odds are still there. So, or you can be wise and just wait a few weeks. Again, it's good to be patient. So, okay. So yeah, very interesting, this point about Hunter Henry. We're going to look more into that. He has the same name as a WWE wrestler, and every year they do riddles with the WWE and NFL, just like they did with Andrew Luck retiring on Vince McMahon's birthday this year. So anyway, coming back to these position players, I was trying to just see the candidates who might pop out tonight. Curtis Samuel. Let's see. He's got that. Okay, we talked about how today's game's 32 days after his birthday, or his 33rd day of his age. Cam Newton, we looked at him. All right, let's see McCaffrey. McCaffrey, they're trying to make a name out of. You can see that. Let's see. Christian Jackson McCaffrey. 151, 36th prime. 254. No. Huh. His full name's the 82nd prime. I actually don't see. I thought his numbers would be more interesting in light of this season, the way they're hyping him up. There must be something I'm overlooking right now. Christian McCaffrey. Christian. What's he do next year in the 101st NFL season? Yeah, there's nothing that screams out to me about his name, actually. I thought it would be more popping out. Let me see. His birthday is June 7th. It's 97 days after his birthday, or the 98th day of his age. Caller?
Hey, so the game is resuming right now, and there's absolutely no rain.
No rain.
No rain, nothing.
I don't know what's going on with my broadcast. It is not going to the game. I can tell that. It's like... Is it on right now on the NFL Network?
Yeah, if you go to the NFL Network on the TV, it should be on. I'm also watching it off my phone on the NFL website because they stream it for free on there too.
Is it on commercial right now on yours?
No. The Bucs just got the ball.
I don't know what's going on mine. Every time I go to it, it's on commercial. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny that, they had a big severe storm and now all of a sudden there's no rain.
Yeah, seriously.
Crazy. All right, man.
All right, appreciate it. Okay, let's see. So, yeah, I don't know. Christian McCaffrey. So, yeah. I don't see his interesting alignment tonight, but still, he's the kind of guy I can see having a lot of big games the way they're hyping him up each week. Star players kind of do their thing each week, and the NFL seems like they want him to be somebody. He's number 22. Again, I always think of 40 and 41. TNF is 13 as well, like week 2. I was actually sleeping on that because those 13s can get picked up this week. Winton could lose his 13th straight road game, right? So TNF and 2 are both 13. And TNF and 2 are also, or TNF is 41, the 13th prime. So, I wonder how many streaks we'll see come in with 14 this year on Thursday Night Football. We should see that. Football's 43, the 14th prime. So yeah, get familiar with these numbers. I mean, look at these numbers. Get them in your head, because in real time, if you're doing the situational stuff, it can really pay off, knowing the numbers on the spot. Oh yeah, what's that number that comes through on Thursday Night Football all the time? 40? Sometimes 41? I mean, that could be very useful information. I'm going to wrap it up there, you guys, so you can watch the game since it's getting started. Again, when you're looking for fantasy players, measure from their birthday to the game. If it syncs up with their jersey number, it's almost always a great sign. If it syncs up perfectly with their name on the field or their full name, that's almost always a good sign. Again, Sammy Watkins had one of the biggest weekends in fantasy football. His full name equals 87. That game was on his 87th day of his age. And remember to look at the days after and the span of days. They both count. So we'll leave it there. We'll do a fuller decode tomorrow, and then we'll do a long one on Saturday. So enjoy the rest of your night. Hopefully you won on the baseball games earlier today. The game of the day came through, and there were some other ones that looked pretty good that come through. So we'll leave it there.